welcome back to the show. And the rain managed to hold off over the weekend for all the folks that were riding in the GranFondo to Whistler.
Yeah, I think there's going to be people walking a little bit.
With sore bums.
Yeah, a little bit strangely today.
By the way, it's a bike race, in case you're wondering.
Just in case you thought you missed a really good party on the weekend. All right, here is Alex Stieda, a cycling coach and, of course, one of Canada's best-known former pro cyclists. He dropped by to talk about the GranFondo and his cycling career and coaching. Here we are. How are you, Alex? Nice to see you.
Great to be here.
So what are all the jerseys? Go through the Tour de France jerseys.
Well, it was 1986, so it was a while ago, but it's embedded in my mind for sure. I won the white jersey, which is the best rookie.
Yeah.
Red jersey is one of the best sprinters. The combination jersey, which is kind of an ugly patchwork jersey, which they don't have anymore, which is the rider has the best points in all the jersey categories.
So they just throw them all together.
That's right. They kind of see what sticks. And then a polka dot jersey for being the best climber at that point in the race. And then, of course, I won
this one,
the yellow jersey.
You were first North American to wear the yellow jersey in the Tour de France? That's an incredible honor.
Well, this is belated, but congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, incredible. Well, and this has been a life in cycling for you, and events like the GranFondo, this is something new to the West Coast, but this has been a long-standing European tradition.
Well, yeah. I mean, these GranFondos, these mass start citizen events are all over Europe. They're called GranFondos in Italy, in France.
It just means big race?
That's right. Big race, big ride. And in France, they're called cyclosportif, so a sporting ride. Right, and they're in other parts of Europe as well. But they get between 1,000 and 15,000 riders participate in these one-day events.
And what was the route here in Vancouver?
Well, it starts downtown Broughton, Georgia, right downtown, Saturday morning, and they closed off a lane over the Lionsgate Bridge, up Taylor Way, Sea to Sky Highway, all the way to Whistler.
This is a big ride,
man.
120K.
That do this. They've trained for it for a long time to get ready for it, and then there's a lot of people that just think, hey, I could do that. Now, you've been riding for a very long time. You have this DVD. How much training should someone do before they tackle a ride that is that far and that long?
Well, it's a great question, and yes, people could probably finish it if they just sort of paced themselves and just kind of took all day.
Yeah.
But I don't think the road's going to be closed all day.
Yeah,
right. But yeah, so it is a combination of physical training and skills training that you need to do well and be able to finish it and sort of feel good at the end instead of feeling.
I would assume hill training would go in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yep. You need to have some. Need to learn how to climb, but you also need to learn how to climb properly, how to pedal smoothly. Hence the smooth ride.
Yeah, well, and this is a great concept, and you had a perfect analogy for it with people that ski. If you want to be a ski racer, you get a coach. If you want to be a better skier, you go through lessons.
Right.
And that's sort of part of what's missing a little bit for the casual rider or for people that just love to get on their bike.
Absolutely. The instructor component for cycling is missing, and I think, unfortunately, people get advice from lots of different people. In cycling, to how to be a better rider. Not always the right advice, unfortunately. So there's no real sort of cohesive, consistent place where people can go to get that information. So that's where the smooth ride concept came from.
And you take people through, like, just from the very beginning, how to buy a bike and how to buy the right kind of bike, whether they're a city rider or someone that's going to be doing something a little bit more serious. So let's take your bike, for example, and talk about this one and why it's good for something like the GranFondo.
Well, again, it's a pure road bike. It's not a hybrid bike. It's made for riding on the road only. It has a carbon frame, carbon wheels. It has 30 speeds, so it gives you lots of range of gearing for the steeper
steep climbs.
Absolutely, especially if you get tired and you want to bail out and just have a little small gear to pedal up. 2 water bottle cages, and it's lightweight. And efficient, I guess, is a
What kind of wheels are on that? Mine sure don't look like that.
No.
Well, they're narrow. Of course, you can put up to 120 psi in the tires, so you can put high pressure in the tires, so you keep the rolling resistance very low.
Well, and this is what people. I think when people think about, well, why do I? How hard is it to become a better rider? I just get in the bike and ride a little bit. But people forget there's a lot of elements that come into this, from equipment to preparation to, simple things like tire pressure and stuff.
Absolutely. There's lots of things to think about. And, back in the day when I started riding, I learned a lot of things by making mistakes, over the years. And the concept behind the skills video is to give people sort of encapsulate everything I've learned over the years, put it into a DVD, or come to one of my skills camps and learn it on a weekend.
Yeah, well, and the unfortunate part is you had to go through the Alps and places that you're familiar with, beautiful places to produce this.
On location, it was, it was a lot of fun, and that's the other side of cycling, right? Is people. You can ride around the Lower Mainland, here or wherever you live. That's fine. But if you go to Europe and ride a road bike there, that's when you can truly enjoy the sport to its maximum.
Yeah. Well, and we live in a really interesting country. I mean, you see all this great tradition of cyclists coming out of Europe on the professional circuit, whatever it is. Well, Canada, we have the Rockies, we have the prairies. We have a lot of great riding country. Do you ever foresee? And Canadian riders are getting better and better and better on the circuit. Do you ever see that day when we would have sort of an all-Canadian team that would be able to do well on the world?
Well, yeah, and I think it's still tough to ride your bike all year long. Maybe on the West Coast you can, but the rest of Canada it's tough.
Yeah, baby, you can out here.
So that will be tough. I know that there's a new professional team run by Steve Bauer, who's again an ex-professional. They're starting to come up and race a few different races around the world and actually show some strength. And again, there's more Canadian riders growing through, coming up through the.
Which means more Canadian coaches later on as well. Guys who have experience.
Exactly. So yeah, it is definitely growing, and ultimately, I'd like to see a full professional stage race in Canada. Maybe more like a Tour de France style race in Canada. Why not?
Yeah. Well, step one is smooth ride. Step two is something like the GranFondo to give people these inspirations, these events, these things that they can do as well. So if you are a cyclist and you want to become a better cyclist and learn a little bit more about the sport that you love, the smooth ride is a great option for you.
Absolutely.
Or give it as a gift to the
Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
We're going to take a quick break. We will be back with more right after this.
I'm also going to steal your bike.
Good idea.
That's cool.